there are three elements. I am an infrastructure provider, which means I am investing my money into creating these buildings, which need thousands of crores of money, and then I give this infrastructure to customers for as a multi-tenancy model. I put my money into creating cloud grids. I put my money into creating a lot of shared infrastructure like storage and a lot of infrastructure, right? So this is the infrastructure part. If you sue a system integrator like IBM or Wipro, they will not do this. This is not their model, right? Second part is I do system integration and consulting entire value chain. So I go to customer, don't say just bring your server to me. I actually start from understanding customer's current environment and then taking him through the entire value chain. Okay, let me understand, let me find the gaps, then let me find a solution. Once I deliver the solution and a bomb, and then I implement it myself for the customer. I give it on a monthly charges model, not on a capex model. Rarely you will find, and that is where my real USP as Netmagic is, somebody who is marrying these three capabilities together. You are owners of infrastructure, right from building to a huge IT. You have a complete expertise of designing, solutioning, implementing and managing 24/7, right? And you have all the right type of tools and manpower to deliver it, everything on a service model. Rarely you find this combination, and that is where we are, right? One part. Second part, many times the same capability can be claimed and many people actually say that we deliver it. At the end of the day, when it comes to running the operations of a customer, right, that is where the differentiation comes, right? I do not run any of my data centers, right? If you see the quality differentiation, the quality will come out very, very nice. I just explained the data part, right? Similarly, when I'm running my enterprise cloud, I'm not running it using some freeware tools, right? My public cloud also is based on Cisco UCS with EMC storage, right, with the Juniper type of networking, and with VMware as hypervisor. VMware now is the costliest of the hypervisor. But even on public cloud, despite so much of stiff competition and cloud becoming a commodity, I still continue to run my public cloud on VMware. Simply because my target segment is enterprises, is not possibly a SOHO or a developer community, right? So we are investing into the best of the tools, best of the resources, best of the technology, and of course best of the data centers, right? 70% of my workforce is engineers and technology workforce, which means my value chain of managed services is very, very high, right? If I try to give you an idea of that, despite me making so much of large buildings and having such a big portfolio of co-location, which is customers coming and only co-locating, still 60% plus of my revenue is coming from managed services, which is non-co-location business. Now that is not trivial, right? Generally the profile of most of the providers globally and even in India, if you see my competition, will be 80-85% co-location, 15% coming as a so-called value-added services. In my case, it is 40% co-location, 60% business coming from managed services. And customers' technology landscape has got so much of things. They have Windows workloads, they have Linux, they have HP UX, they have AIX, they have 10 type of networking equipment, they have 6 type of storage boxes. Different customers, somebody will have IBM, somebody will have something, somebody will have something else, somebody will have NetApp, somebody will have EMC. And then you have multiple applications with different customers, right? Many customers will require disaster recovery. They are not happy with manual way of disaster recovery. They'll want me to put tools like Perpetuity or Sonovi to automate the entire process, right? Even when customer go for private cloud, right? Some customer would like VMware with private cloud. Somebody will say Hyper-V based. Somebody will say Oracle based, and somebody will say Red Hat Linux based hypervisor, right? We have to serve the entire market, which essentially means I need to have depth and technical skill set across all these technologies, and that explains why I have almost 700 engineers just to deliver managed services. So these are the things, right, which actually are differentiating, that when it comes to real, very, very large scale deployments of mission critical applications, like some of the largest upcoming banks which are doing great, who just put total entire investment into technology afresh in the last 4 or 5 years, they have taken my entire stack of services, right? I can take some of the names which, because they are public, like RBL or AU Bank. We all know these are the banks which are making so much of name in the market. the entire value chain, right from hosting the primary DR to giving them the entire hardware stack to public cloud stack. Almost 30-40 engineers only managing one customer, and all my tools like ServiceNow and all, they all have been deployed to serve the needs of this customer. Other than the application piece, which obviously they will take either from an Infosys or whosoever they have tied up with, the entire stack running below that is something which I do. Their disaster recovery deals are done by me automatically using tools. So this is where, and yes, a big part of my customer base is e-commerce customers, right? And that is where the need of cloud comes in, right? Because they will want burst stability, they would like suddenly need some 180-200 VMs because suddenly there's a big news story and they want to cover that, or there's a budget, or there's an election, or or some high load, and there's a like Diwali dhamaka for a Flipkart or something like that. We have seen through all this because majority of these e-commerce guys, of course, now they have divided the workloads across different cloud providers. It's not only me. There was a time almost 85 to 90% of the e-commerce workload was hosted only with me, right? And of course now it is gradually getting divided. Every customer also want to have something on AWS and Azure also. And that is where comes my next value proposition. We need to keep on remaining agile to what the market is demanding. We have seen this market movement that yes, you are getting hyperscaler cloud providers, and these are worldwide phenomena. And these guys, their only business is public cloud. Amazon, Azure, Google, Alibaba. So naturally, the amount of investment they are putting into making their public cloud grids is possibly much higher than a solution provider like me, right? So what we are doing in response to this demand of the market, we are saying, I am a tier 1 partner now to Azure also. That's why I am participating in a Microsoft event downstairs, right?
Okay.
I am a tier 1 partner to AWS. I am in the talks with Google to become a tier 1 partner with Google, and same thing I'll be doing with Alibaba because they're also launching now, right? So the idea is that at the end of the day, it's customer who decides what he want to do and where he want to host. And there are reasons that some of the workloads customer may want to put on AWS only. Maybe because some of the service like big data analytics and AI or ML, which AWS is giving, which possibly is not available with me, right? Some of the Windows workloads where customer can use his perpetual Windows license or Microsoft licenses, so he may want to use services on Azure as well, right? Some of the services he might use on Google, and many which ways he may still want to continue with me on my public cloud, and many workloads he would like to keep on still bare metal on dedicated servers, right? And finally, he already got a lot of boxes which he just want to co-locate. So all the things I am actually this is what we call as the latest strategy in the last 9-10 months. That's what we are promoting. Today also we made a presentation in the event. We call it our hybrid IT multi-cloud strategy, right? Under which after assessing the customer's current environment and his future growth plan and his concern areas, we are giving him a solution which is not only my own core products like my co-location or managed hosting or cloud. If the customer want to go for some applications on AWS or Azure or Google also, he takes it through me. I provide it. I do the solutioning with him. I implement it and I manage it for the customer, right? And that brings a change. It sometimes takes guts to shift away from your own product and then say, okay, I'll also partner with other who so-called could have been my competitors. I've actually made that problem into my opportunity. I've become partners to them because in any case, those guys indirectly are my customers also, because the physical building where many of these guys are hosted are my own building. So they are already my customers. Now also becoming business partners, instead of trying to compete with their cloud, I'm taking their cloud as a part of my multi-cloud strategy. Because once I start delivering their cloud also as a part of my solution, the entire value-added layer on the top of that, which is migration, which is disaster recovery, which is operating systems and database management, everything is something which I do, these guys don't do, right? That is what our latest value proposition and unique thing is. We have sort of fortified this strategy in the last 9 to 12 months, and this is what we are taking to market. And whichever existing customer of ours we are talking to, everybody is just loving it. They are saying this is what we wanted, that we want a mix of everything. There's no single solution, only co-location, only captive, only bare metal, or only Azure, or only AWS, or only Netmagic is not the solution. for different workloads, customer may end up, and sometimes even shadow IT comes in, somebody just end up purchasing something on AWS. The CIO still may need to manage that. All these solutions I can deliver to the customer, right? And the final piece, one more thing is left, is something called CMP. NTT, which is my parent company, and Netmagic, in the last 2 years, we have developed you can call it super orchestration layer of multiple clouds, right? We call it Cloud Management Platform, CMP. Now, what this layer is, it basically is a cloud broking layer where through APIs I can actually connect, which I do even today. I have given it to many customers. I connect to AWS, I connect to Azure, I connect to Google, I connect to my Simply Cloud, I connect to NTT's global cloud. NTT also has its own cloud version. And you can connect to your own private clouds as well. So if a customer has got a private cloud on a VMware or Hyper-V or whatever, you connect through them to them also, right? So now what you have done in one shot, instead of trying to go to 6-7 interfaces and trying to manage individual workloads separately, I'm giving a single screen, a single dashboard to the customer to see all his workloads running across different clouds, which can be different public clouds or which can also be his own private cloud, right? He logs in only once. Of course, one time I have to do all the configuration to get the APIs configured and all, but after that he just logs into my CMP and he can see all his workloads across the world run into any private cloud or any of the public clouds. At one stage we were delivering this service only for monitoring and creation of metadata and doing a lot of analytics. In the last 6 months we have brought in capability to even get a catalog of all the plans of these providers. So if you want to see the plans of various providers, what they cost and all this stuff, you can see them right in my portal. And if you want to now select and provision also, you can do it right from my CMP. You don't have to go to the native interface of AWS or Azure anymore. Just do it from my CMP itself, right? This is one area where we are building capabilities the maximum now, which is hybrid IT multi-cloud with the CMP on the top. Where going forward I want to deliver even some of the pain areas that when you want to do a migration from one cloud environment to a different cloud environment, how do I make the journey seamless? Practically click of a button here and here in my CMP and customer does not know what is the internal intricacies and able to do that, right? How do I enable possibly primary on AWS and DR on Azure or maybe on my cloud, and I can put my perpetuity or Sanofi right from this interface and customer can just manage DR right from this interface itself. These are the things which we are working on right now. This is a journey. Lot of things have been achieved. As I said, this CMP itself is delivering a lot of capabilities, monitoring and management. But going forward in the next 1 year, in fact, we have not gone public about it. We recently acquired one company also from Bangalore, and that is a company who was doing some very, very good innovative efforts in that direction, right? We concluded that deal just about 2 days back, and using the capabilities of those company and with our entity's cloud development team which has developed CMP, we actually are going to keep this journey on to deliver that with the single CMP interface, customer can do everything. See all the cloud providers, monitor the performance of all the clouds across everywhere, do all the managed services on the top of that right from this single interface, and that will be groundbreaking. In a way, cloud itself, it's not me or the multi-cloud layer. The cloud itself is trying to make many jobs which CIO or CTO or the department was doing redundant. Like for example, the size of hardware and all the components below for running an application used to be a huge full-time job of many people in CIO's team, right? Or the vendors. Now you don't need to bother about sizing beyond a point, because just go to cloud. If the sizing is small, just increase it in 1 minute. If the sizing high, just reduce it in a minute. You know, it has become managed. It's just a consumption model, right? So in a way, yes, we are a part of that ecosystem, and obviously we are taking the best benefit of the ecosystem to deliver this benefit to the customer. But it is the cloud as a technology which actually is making many of those jobs redundant. So in a way, that way you're right. By bringing the multi-cloud layer, enabling the CIO or the company to take whichever cloud they want and make even private cloud on a consumption model, see everything on a layer. Practically, you're making the complexity below,
consumerizing the entire.
Exactly, we are making consumerizing the whole thing.
Yeah.
And just come consume it wherever you want to consume it, and yes, you're right. So effectively you are bringing the technology in a very, very simple interface to the end user's hand, which is a CDO or a functional user. In that way, right, it is good for the organization. If I see from an organization point of view, from a country point of view, or from the world point of view, I think the role is changing from the perspective that even to understand which cloud is good for which workload, who will do that? That intelligence layer will come from CIO and his team, right? So much of cloud providers, if you see today, there is no standardization, there is no central body which is defining standards, and that is why still there are issues of interoperability of workload. If you have developed your application assuming AWS in mind, possibly the same application as it is will not move to Azure, right? There are still issues of interoperability, right? So how will you migrate the load? What changes you have to bring into your coding and all this stuff is still CIO need to do. Either has to do or he has to interface with relevant vendors to do that, right? Different cloud operators have got different commercial models, right? In fact, that is a pain area today, right? Like my cloud model has got still some plans give fixed monthly recurring charges for a capacity, and then you can upgrade or downgrade whatever you want, but still a fixed budgetary amount customer pays. But if you go to the default plans of AWS or Azure, they're all like per minute or per second or per hour based CPU or RAM hour measurement. So effectively, and beyond a point, CIO is not able to control how many users will consume it from his organization or how many end customer will come to his website and consume it. So suddenly at the end of the month, the CFO says, how come I was paying last month 10,000 rupees and this month you are giving me 30,000 rupees bill, right? And there's a pain area. Today also I was with a very large customer of mine in Noida and in Gurgaon, and he was saying the same problem, that I'm not able to control my budget. So my point is, which workload, not only from a technical point of view but from commercial point of view also, keep on understanding the different the offers from the cloud providers, comparing them continuously, and then take the right decision which workload should go where. Again, that layer will come from CIO. Trust me, this is not a 0 to 1 journey, that today I had everything in my data center running on bare metal data hardware, and suddenly I switch off, I forget everything, and tomorrow I'm totally in cloud. It does not happen that way. It will be a huge journey where gradually you will, because you have to maintain business continuity. Your application cannot go down, your business cannot go down. So gradually, as the technology become obsolete, the hardware become obsolete, you will start thinking, okay, let me put some application to public, some application to private. I still create an interface so that the application can still talk about it. In the next lot, I again put some or more application to public, right? Well, in the next lot, I retire my hardware but put a new set of hardware because that new application still need a dedicated hardware, and I still need to create a hybrid interface, still so that they can talk to each other. This is a intelligence layer. So essentially, I think it is a very, very valid question, and in any type of outsourcing decision, the reason outsourcing possibly has taken time to, and always takes time, the next level of outsourcing always takes some time before people start adopting, is the concern typically remains security and compliance. The business case of reduced cost, higher performance are always there whenever you bring a new technology like cloud. It's a very, very given case. Everything is good. The only reason why possibly public cloud is taking time or has taken time to get adopted for even top mission critical applications, not performance issues or whatever, is essentially the concern for security, right? So that is the question is very most of the time, which is a perceived or notional concern for security and not the real concern, right? In fact, and there's so much of votaries across the world who would rather like to vouch that the security which hyperscaler cloud providers like us or others would put into our public cloud grid, because our business, our name and brand depends on this, and it's a multi-tenant with multiple customers, will be much, much higher security than which possibly a customer can afford into his own environment, where obviously you can take chances, right? You typically don't have that much of budget, you don't have that type of manpower, you cannot have all the technologies. In my case, or rather, for that matter, any of the large cloud operators case, when you're doing it on a scale of like millions of customers and that type of environment, you can, number one, your business, your brand depends on that, otherwise you are not into the business at all. Number two, when you're operating it on that large scale, the unit cost of delivering that incremental security services per customer become much lesser compared to you trying to deploy all those security solutions, security layers only in your captive data center, right? It's very normal because the economics sense, right? So one, okay, answering the question number one, each of my individual cloud layers, right, whether it is my own data center where it's my public cloud or my data center layer or my managed hosting layer, have their own set of security services available, right from basics like they are behind firewalls, or you have the IPS IDS services, to you do preventive services like penetration testing or vulnerability assessment services types, right, to like something which is the bane of all the e-commerce providers is that the DDoS attacks and all this stuff. So to putting in the DDoS prevention tools right at your boundary. What we have gone a step further, that we have put our own DDoS appliances even upstream level into my upstream service provider, so that if a very high volume attack comes in, it does not even reach my gate, it just gets subsided right at my upstream service provider level itself. And now DDoS solutions are available right in the cloud itself from security service providers. So we actually have taken all those services. I run a full-fledged SOC of my own, which is different from so the 7 engineers I was talking about, they were for various other services. But other than that, I have my own 45 member SOC, which is purely to deliver security services, right? And we are
sitting out of the same premise
in Mumbai. No. My entire engineers basically are sitting in my DC2.
Okay.
My DC2 and DC4 are two buildings which are in front of each other in Vikhroli, which is about 7-8 kilometers from DC5. That is where we have a complete one full floor of a building, which is my NOC, and adjacent there is one room which is around 40-50 seater room where my SOC is there. So that is the central, and the DR of this entire is in my Bangalore DC2, which is in Electronic City, Bangalore. So the way we work is that my model of delivering services in a like you deliver all services but you deliver it cost effectively, is that these NOCs and SOCs are capable of delivering services remotely to all my data centers. Even if data is in Chennai, they can deliver services remotely.